Operational recording. I think. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
So I am coming back to the next question, that what is the difference in between fragmentation and regeneration? See, regeneration and fragmentation have various similarities as well as dissimilarities. Generally, regeneration is observed in case of lower animals. It is observed in case of lower animals. Whereas fragmentation is something which is applicable to lower plants. So here what happens is fragmentation, which is generally applicable to algae. What happens during the summer season, when there is water availability is very less, these algae, their long strands are broken into small pieces, and from each of these pieces are like new organism is produced. So they have specific unfavorable condition for reproduction. In this case, this is occurring accidentally. Okay, but remember one thing, beta, there may be a question that do you consider them as a reproduction or mode of survival? You need to say that it is after all a reproduction, because through this there is increase in number of organisms, but it's a mode of survival also. जब भी condition unfavorable होता है, or if there is any kind of accident, these organisms go for it, so that what happens is they can survive or they can pass through those unfavorable conditions. जैसे कि मैंने आपको एल्गी का एग्जांपल दिया कि ड्यूरिंग समर सीजन देयर आर like less chances of growth for algae, है ना, क्योंकि we know that algae is aquatic plant, so obviously without water तो they cannot live. तो ऐसे सिचुएशन में वो बेचारा क्या करेगा? सो ऑब्वियसली बाय फ्रेगमेंटेशन वो एटलीस्ट जिंदा रह सकता है, इवन इफ इट कैन मल्टीप्लाई. क्लियर टू ऑल द डिफरेंस बिटवीन फ्रेगमेंटेशन एंड रीजनरेशन?
Yes,
who asked me this question?
Ma'am,
येशा,
yes,
you?
ma'am.
हाँ, क्लियर बेटा येशा?
Yes, ma'am.
चलो. So now we will move ahead. I guess you understood regeneration. In fragmentation also similar profile is done. Consider this is an algal strand. Especially it is occurring with long filamentous algae. If it is broken down into small pieces, then from each of these pieces new organisms can be produced. So as we are done with regeneration, now we can talk about others, but I will keep on writing the examples so that you can understand. For regeneration, sponge and planaria. Anyone else? Any idea? Regeneration is also observed in
Lizard.
case of hydra. Lizard? No. Lizard we
Okay, वो
cannot say beta.
fragmentation.
वो
Fragmentation.
fragmentation भी नहीं है.
तो
It's an event to get rid of danger situation. But remember, lizard जब अपना tail को वहां पे छोड़ देता है, उस tail से नया lizard नहीं बनता है बेटा. What happens, I tell you, this is some misconception you people must be having. You are talking about wall lizard na?
yes, ma'am.
So in case of wall lizard, what happens is beta, whenever there is any enemy available, okay, what happens is during that time, they detach the tail from their body, and that tail keep on moving, so it will attract the attention of people towards that tail or whatever enemy, whatever predator. उसको लगता है कि टेल ही लिजर्ड है, उसकी तरफ वो चला जाता है, and lizard will fly away. Understood? But वो टेल टेल ही है, it will be a non-living thing after some time, and it will not give rise to new kind of lizard. So it's a way to get rid of enemy, nothing more than that. But here from each piece of these organisms body, you are getting a new organism which will have its own identity. उसके केस में क्या होता है, after some time the tail there is growth of a new tail in that lizard. Lizard थोड़े दिन टेल के बगैर घूमता है, then it will have a tail. That's not a part of regeneration. Okay? चलो, now we will talk about fission. Now fission can be further subdivided into different types. Here I will write for fragmentation and the okay. So what is fission? For fission, we can have binary fission, and we can have multiple fission. Okay, so what is the difference between these two? See, in case of binary fission, which can be further subdivided into two types, that is binary fission, which is irregular, and then regular. Regular can be of two types, longitudinal and transverse. Okay, so what are these? आपको लग रहा होगा मैम हमने तो बाइनरी फिजन ही पढ़ा था. What is this? All these things. See, beta, amoeba is having a structure which is very irregular. Okay, so if you are talking about binary fission of amoeba, you are cutting from this plane, fissioning from this plane or this plane does not matter, because anyways it will be irregular. So that is what is observed in irregular. In binary fission, why it is called binary and why it is called fission? Fission means breakdown. The word fission means break down. So what happens is, and binary means two, and multiple means many. So if one organism is broken down into two pieces, it is called binary fission. If many pieces, it is called multiple fission. Now, how they are broken into pieces? Because binary fission is observed in case of lower organisms. In this case, the whole nucleus turn into a dumbbell-shaped structure. It will have a structure of a dumbbell. Why? Because two bulges are there and the middle part is thin, and there is formation of a cleavage. This is called cleavage. This cleavage will deep. It will further get deepened, and finally amoeba will have two organisms. These two are two separate amoeba. So in case of amoeba, as the cell itself is irregular, So we call it irregular binary fission. Okay. So let's write down the example here. For irregular, it is it is example is amoeba. Amoeba spelling is different ना, amoeba है वो actually, but बोलते हैं amoeba. Okay, now let's come back to the longitudinal and transverse. Longitudinal is observed in case of euglena. Do you know the speciality of euglena? What is so special about euglena? Can anyone tell me? Speciality of euglena? बोलो बेटा. No one, are they what? They are plant, animal, what they are? In five kingdom classification, amoeba, euglena, plant. Any other answer? So if you are planning to go for wheat examination, beta, you need to understand which organism is falling under which. Means you need to revise your knowledge of classification. These three of them are falling under Protista and they are protozoa. They are not plants. Okay, so the speciality of this euglena, we can consider euglena as a very lower grade animal. This is something, this is the protozoa which even if lacking cell wall does not have characters of plants, but it can go for photosynthesis. Euglena and Chrysamoeba, these are the two animal-like organisms which can go for photosynthesis. Okay, so what do we mean by longitudinal binary fission? Okay, so structure of euglena is somewhat like this. It has a flagella. So during this procedure, the nucleus is two flagella developed. Nucleus is divided into two. There is formation of cleavage here also, and now this cleavage will get deep to produce two nuclei. So you can understand the fission is occurring longitudinally. That's why this is known as longitudinal fission. Whereas paramecium having cilia throughout the borderline of body. The cleavage will be further deepening. And then it will give rise to two paramecium separately. You can understand here the cleavage is occurring transversely. That's why it is called transverse binary fission. Clear to all?
Yes, ma'am.
So now we will talk about multiple fission. Multiple fission is observed in organism called Plasmodium. Have you ever heard about this Plasmodium? Name of this organism?
Yes, ma'am.
It is
It is a
responsible
protozoa.
for. It's responsible for what? Why it is so famous? Can you tell me the reason of its fame?
Whenever the plasmodium is in unfavorable condition, forms on its surface, and and all the daughter cells are stored inside, and after coming in favorable conditions, the cyst breaks and the daughter cells come out.
Chalo, I will help you with the name of species also. Have you ever heard about this organism?
Ma'am, malaria is caused by.
Ah, it is responsible for causing malaria, beta. This organism is responsible for causing malaria. Understood? So Plasmodium vivax is responsible for multiple fission. So how it occurs? Consider this is the structure of Plasmodium. Okay. It has single nucleus. The cell will have, first of all, the nucleus will be copying and it will be broken down into many small nucleus. Okay. Then these nucleus will develop and there will be covering around them so that each one of them can be converted into a small cells. Okay, and whenever there is like breaking of this covering, each of these cells can grow as a new plasma. So you can see multiple copies of organisms are produced. That's why we call it multiple fission. I hope it is clear to all of you. The concept of fission is clear, beta, to all.
Yes, ma'am.
So I am removing this part now. We will go to the next, that is body. So let us write down the example: amoeba, bacteria, paramecium, euglena, and last but not least, Plasmodium. Okay, now let's talk about budding. Budding is observed in two of the organisms. This is yeast and hydra. Have you ever heard about yeast? Yeast is famous for what? First, let me know what is yeast. It's a bacteria, fungi, algae, what it is?
Fungi.
Yeast is a fungi. Okay. Hydra. Hydra is what? You know why it is named as Hydra? इसका नाम Hydra क्यों है ये पता है आपको? Have you ever heard about Hercules? Greek mythology, one of the strongest man in the world. Never studies. चलो मैं बताती, एक स्टोरी है व्हाई हाइड्रा इज कॉल्ड हाइड्रा. एक्चुअली इन ग्रीक mythology देयर इज वन मेंशन ऑफ अ लेडी जिसके सर के सारे बाल सांप जैसे थे और वो जिसकी तरफ देखती थी वो पत्थर बन जाता. तो हाइड्रा इज हैविंग स्ट्रक्चर somewhat similar to that because of its tentacles. That's why its name is Hydra. अब कुछ हिंट आया, याद आया? हाइड्रा इज व्हाट?
Nidaria.
Anyone? Nidaria. Very good. That means it is an animal, isn't it? So Hydra is just an animal. तो यहाँ कैसा होगा? Yeast is a fungus. Consider if this is a yeast cell. Slowly and steadily there will be formation of an outgrowth in the cell. And once the outgrowth is formed, why it's let me redraw. So what happens is beta, there is a outgrowth. After some time, the size of this outgrowth will enlarge, and slowly and steadily, the margin between them is developed. जब initial stage होता है, when it is initial stage, there is no actual proper wall between these two. It is kind of part of that cell only. Okay, but slowly and steadily some amount of nuclear material goes inside and then it will be developed as an individual organism. So if you look into budded say yeast cell which is going for budding, you will be able to know that too many cells are there, too many of them are there where they are forming a chain like structures like this. So that is budding of yeast. Okay, now let's see how Hydra buds. If you consider this as a Hydra, these are tentacles which makes them famous, and body is somewhat having like this. There is a central pore. Similar situation here is development of a bud, and then this bud will increase its size. There will be further development of tentacle, but there is a difference between budding of Hydra and yeast. Yeast, in case of yeast, what happens is the bud may be attached to the main organism and it can form a chain. In case of Hydra, it is always getting detached from the main organism and it will develop as a new Hydra organism. Clear to all? Budding?
Yes, ma'am.
है ना? चलो, let's see what is gamma. Gamma is a specialized structure. It is observed in case of this one, sponge. Gamma is a kind of bud only. Okay. There is no specific structure of gamma. You know, sponge are porous structure. In their whole body, there is outgrowth like this, and this outgrowth can be growing as a new part of sponge. But remember, this gamma is also found in case of a bryophyte known as Markensia. There they have a cup-like structure called gamma cap. On inside which there will be spores. So see, same name for plant sexual reproduction mode and sponge is an animal. So strange, I don't know why scientists were so much short of names. Okay, so is gamma clear? Should I move ahead?
Ma'am, will you explain again?
Yes, I will. See, these are two different structures observed in two different types of organisms. One is sponge. In case of sponge, the porous body will have an outgrowth. Okay, and this outgrowth will form the new sponge organism. Okay, similar to the hydra or yeast, but in case of sponge, the budding of sponge is known as gamma. Because why this difference is there? Budding is something in which it is yeast is a unicellular fungus, hydra is a animal with differentiation. Whereas sponge is an organism which is an animal, but in this differentiation is not observed that much. ओके इसीलिए शायद इनको ईस्ट और हाइड्रा के बडिंग में से अलग किया है, but it's similar to the budding procedure only. Another mention of gamma is observed in case of Markensia. Markensia is a type of bryophyte which is a plant. Okay, in them there is development of a cup-like structure which is known as gamma cup. Gamma cup. Inside this cup there is formation of gamules, that is the spores. Each of these asexual spores will germinate to produce new Markensia plant. Is it clear now?
ये भी हाइड्रा के जैसे
Yes, ma'am.
डिटैच होता है.
हाइड्रा के जैसा प्रियांशी, कैन यू रिपीट योर
डिटैच ही होता है.
डिटैच ही हो जाते हैं. They will get detached to form the new organism.
तो ये हाइड्रा को भी गैमा में रखना था ना.
अब उन्होंने नहीं रखा. See, we are not studying the ultrastructure. I am telling you the difference between hydra and sponge is hydra is a well differentiated animal. Not very much, but फिर भी it is well differentiated. Sponge is not differentiated. It's falling under, protozoa, parazoa and enterozoa. मतलब it is not at all. मतलब sponge के अंदर there is differentiation is minimum, even if it is multicellular. इसीलिए शायद इसको हाइड्रा के साथ नहीं रखा गया.
ओके.
Ultrastructure of gamma is not they are mentioned in your syllabus. That's why I am not going much into much detail. So we will again move ahead with the example, that is sponge and Markensia. Now let's come to this method. It is observed in case of Aurelia. Aurelia is a animal outside. What happens here is a series of ring-like structure. If this is the structure of Aurelia, ring-like structures are formed out in an organism. Consider the whole organism will be converted into ring-like structures like this. Body will be forming structures like this. And each of these ring-like structures are known as Strawberry. Each of these strawberry can give rise to the new Aurelia. Similar to fragmentation, you will again ask me कि मैम ये क्यों इसको fragmentation में नहीं हमने रखा है? Because बेटा fragmentation and regeneration in their case, organism is divided as it is. जैसा वो है वैसे ही it's cut down into pieces. But here specialized ring-like structures are formed. That's why we call it strobilization. Is it clear to all? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
बीच बीच में सिग्नल किसका ऑरेलिया में ही होता है. This is specially for ऑरेलिया.
Okay.
In your textbook there is no mention of गेमा तो फिर भी होगा, मार्केचिया वाली तो है ही नहीं, और स्ट्रोबिलाइजेशन तो बताया ही नहीं गया है, स्क्लेरोटिया भी बताया नहीं गया है. But generally when I teach, I think you may prepare for entrance. That's why I added this. बुक में तो रिजेनरेशन, फिजन, बडिंग, फ्रैगमेंटेशन और स्पोर फॉर्मेशन. स्पोर के भी जो डिफरेंट टाइप्स है, सी एनसीईआरटी इज हैविंग अ वेरी बैड हैबिट. वो यूज करता है टर्म्स को, उसको एक्सप्लेन नहीं करता है ना. यस, दैट टर्म इज देयर इन द बुक, दे कैन आस्क यू व्हाट इट इज. मतलब वो डायरेक्ट डेफिनेशन नहीं पूछेगा. जैसे यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड अबाउट द वर्ड ज़ूस्पोर. सुना कभी ज़ूस्पोर?
Yes, ma'am.
अब ज़ूस्पोर क्या है, कहीं तुम दिखा सकते हो एनसीईआरटी में लिखा हुआ है? कहीं नहीं लिखा हुआ. बट दे एक्सपेक्ट यू के वर्ड है तो मतलब तुम्हारे टीचर पढ़ाएगा. सो दैट इज व्हाई आई लाइक keep on talking about things which may not be present in the book, but we need to know. That's all. Anyways, any doubt in this stabilization? I don't think you are convinced. अच्छा नहीं लगा किसी को कि क्या हो रहा है, क्यों
Ma'am, I am having one question.
Yes, बेटा. Yes.
Ma'am, this Aurelia will have a reproduction?
हाँ, it is a method of asexual reproduction only, but it can go for sexual also. Let me tell you. यहाँ जितने भी organisms के हम बात कर रहे हैं, स्पेशली जैसे कि ये हाइड्रा है, देन बैक्टीरिया तो बहुत मिनिमम करता है, एमीबा, पैरामीशिया, ब्यूग्लिना, प्लाज्मोडियम, then yeast, hydra, all of them can go for sexual reproduction also. They can go, हाँ. अब फिर तुम्हारे माइंड में क्वेश्चन आएगा, इफ दे कैन गो फॉर सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन, फिर ये असेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन क्यों करते हैं? इजंट इट?
Yes, ma'am.
Because beta, see, they are very low category of organisms, have very short lifespan, and during their lifespan also death rate is very high because they cannot modify. हम लोग क्या करते हैं, जैसे सर्दी का मौसम है, चलो स्वेटर पहन लिया, गर्मी का मौसम है, पंखा चालू करके बैठ गए. With our capabilities, we can tweak the situations and take advantage of survival. ये तो बेचारे organisms ऐसे हैं कि थोड़ा इधर से उधर हुआ मर ही जाएंगे. So what they do whenever condition is favorable, either they reproduce by all means. मतलब जैसे उसको थोड़ा सुविधा सुख मिला, उसकी जिंदगी में एक ही एम रहती है कि चलो अब मैं रिप्रोड्यूस करूंगा, भले सेक्सुअल ना मिले तो असेक्सुअल, because in case of sexual reproduction, availability of that organism is another organism is also a criteria, isn't it? अगर उसको कोई ना मिले तो क्या करेगा, वो थोड़ी ना मार सकता है, इस तरीके से तो एक्सटिंक्ट हो जाएगा. So that's why it is going for asexual reproduction as a mode. Even in unfavorable condition, जैसे कि फूड की कमी है, टेम्परेचर बहुत ज्यादा है, किसी वजह से कोई केमिकल्स है एनवायरनमेंट में, या फिर वाटर की कमी है, इन दैट कंडीशन आल्सो दे गो फॉर असेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन. to overcome. ताकि by any means they need to survive. They need to continue their species. Understood everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
है ना? And we have ability to modify things, no? इसीलिए भगवान ने हमें वो capability नहीं दी है. उसने सोचा कि बाप रे ये ऐसी ही हालत हमारी खराब करके रखी है, इसको वापस से एबिलिटी देंगे तो ये तो कितना पॉपुलेशन बढ़ाएगा. Because we don't die. You must know that in case of human being, death rate is comparatively very low if you consider with other animals, है ना? So stabilization is available in forage. Sure. Now we will learn about another specific type. This must be new to you. So here, what happens? This is occurring in case of fungi. That two special type of fungi which are called filamentous fungi. So what is about this? What happens is fungi is having many multicellular thread-like structure called hyphae. I hope all of you know. Yes or no? Yes or no? Hyphae of fungi. Thread-like structures are called hyphae, filamentous structure. See, fungi can be unicellular, fungi can be multicellular. Example of unicellular fungi is yeast. उसमें one cell, one organism. In case of multicellular fungi, what happens is the whole filament is made up of small cells. And what happened in sclerotia, many such fungal filament is getting interwoven. Means they will form a thick network-like structure, which is having structure like this. And being together, the outer fungal areas will be affected, the inner part will be unaffected, and it will stay like that in unfavorable condition. Whenever situation is favorable, जब भी condition favorable होता है, तब क्या होता है? वो germinate करता है, outer part is destroyed, inner part is still living, it will germinate to produce new fungus. Understood everyone? Am I audible?
Yes,
Jia?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. So this is a specialized substance mode of reproduction that is observed in case of filamentous fungi. Now we will go next to the spore formation part. Have you ever heard about this spore formation? So what is spore? Spores are propagules which germinate to form new organisms. Okay, so what are these propagules? You know that spores can be further subdivided into two types. One is exospore, another is endospore. So what do we mean by these words, exospores and endospores? Exospore is it doesn't have spore sac, which is also known as sporangium. तो ये किसी भी प्रकार के पाउच के अंदर नहीं रहता है. That's why they are called, they are outside, they are well exposed. That's why they are known as exospore. Whereas endospores are always inside sporangium. They are always present inside the sporangium. Now let us see what are the different types of spores. First of all, we will talk zoospores. What are zoospores? Zoo means here zoo means, zoospores are always motile spores. These are small spores which can move, having structure somewhat like this. Consider this is a hyphae of an algae or fungi. There will be formation of this type of structures, and when this sporangium is broken down, these structures will have flagella and it will be liberated to form new organisms. So as you can see, zoospores are generally like present inside a pouch. That's why they are called endospore. Example of organisms having zoospore is Rhizopus. Common name of Rhizopus पता है आप लोगों को? What is the common name of Rhizopus? Mucor. Have you ever heard about this? They are called bread mold. अगर आप एक ब्रेड को थोड़ा वाटर स्प्रे करके बाथरूम में रख दो ना, देखना उसके ऊपर ग्रीन कलर की फंगल ग्रोथ होता है. That is called Rhizopus or okay. Now let's go to the next one. This is sporangiospore. Sporangiospore is also available in case of Rhizopus and Mucor. In this case, what happens is, I will draw the diagram so that you understand. This is structure of a Mucor. So this part, this sac is called sporangium. And then spores will be liberated like this. So what is the difference between sporangiospore and zoospore? Because both of them are endospore ना, दोनों क्या है, endospore ही है. Yes or no? तो दोनों में फर्क क्या है?
Zoospores are motile.
And very good. Sporangiospores are
flagellated.
So sporangiospores are non-motile and non-flagellated. So that is the difference. Okay. Let us talk about the third one. The third type is known as chlamydospore. What do we mean by chlamydospore? These are basically very thick-walled spores with lot many storage material. Consider this is the filament. There will be formation of spores like this in the filament. Filament will be actually modified to have structures like this. And then finally this will be having a very thick wall. So this is what is chlamydospore. So why do you think spores needs to have a thick wall? And why do you think they need to have a very high amount of storage? Why spores need to have a thick wall and it needs to have a storage food material? See, let me tell you, zoospore and sporangiosspore. I just now told you, beta, that this type of spore formation occur in two conditions. Can anyone tell me when organisms go for asexual reproduction or spore formation? What is the aim of asexual reproduction? If or even if organisms are having sexual reproduction, फिर भी वो asexual reproduction तो करता ही है. What is the reason?
Environmental condition.
हाँ, but like what type of environment? It does in favorable condition or in unfavorable condition?
Unfavorable.
It never does it in favorable condition. दोनों में करता है बेटा. Both of them will have its own aim. जब favorable condition होता है, then also it go for asexual reproduction so that अभी कंडीशन फेवरेबल है, जितनी मर्जी रिप्रोड्यूस कर लो, इसके बाद पता नहीं कल क्या हो. When it is unfavorable condition, तब उतनी हाई रेट में तो नहीं कर सकता है वो. Obviously there are stringency, but then also it will try to survive that unfavorable condition via asexual reproduction. ठीक है, तो इसमें क्या हो रहा है? In case of zoospore and sporangiosspore, which both of which are endospore. Okay, what happens is it is occurring in case of favorable condition. जब पानी है, खाना है, they multiply. And in case of chlamydospore, it is occurring in case of unfavorable condition. That's why beta it needs to have a very thick wall. ये जो wall की thickening है, ये क्या है? You know, there are have you ever heard about bioplastic, biodegradable plastic?
Yes, ma'am.
क्या होता है?
Ma'am, biodegradable plastic means it cannot means biodegradable means pollution नहीं करेगा.
So what is the problem with the regular plastic we are using? उसको क्या तकलीफ है? क्यों हम एक्स्ट्रा रिसर्च करें? See, biology class means we don't have to only focus on things which are related to syllabus or book को line to line पढ़े. It will be boring then. Let us expand our antennas towards everywhere and we will learn so many new things. बोलो, normal plastic में क्या problem है? Anyone, any idea?
Biodegradable is something which is decomposed by microbes and in water.
That's what the important thing is. Okay, it can be decomposed by microbes. अभी अगर तुम एक प्लास्टिक के पाउच को जमीनों तले गाड़ दो बेटा, तो वो 5 साल, 10 साल, 15 साल बाद भी वैसे ही रहने वाला है. It will not be part of our environment. And you know कि कोई भी चीज का environment का part होना is very much important. अगर वो environment का part नहीं होगा तो बायोजियो साइकिल, केमिकल साइकिल नहीं चलेगा. फिर वो चीज उसको pollute करेगी. So, you know, the first organism from which bioplastic was extracted from the spore of a bacteria. Name of that bacteria was Bacillus megaterium. Okay, so name of that bacteria is Bacillus megaterium. उसकी स्पोर मॉलिक्यूल्स इतनी स्ट्रॉन्ग है कि इवन एट हाई हीट उसकी डिस्ट्रक्शन नहीं होती है. Even if most corrosive elements like acids and bases cannot destroy that food. तो आप समझ सकते हो, similar to the chlamydospores which are observed in algae and fungi. These chlamydospores are so tough world कि बाहर जितनी भी टेम्परेचर क्यों ना हो जाए, भले फंगी मर भी जाए, chlamydospores will be alive and they will decrease their metabolism in such an extent कि तुम बाहर से देखोगे तो you will feel कि they are almost dead and they have storage food material. Lots of storage food material is there which will be very useful for them during this unfavorable condition. वो अंदर चुपके से बैठा रहेगा. Such spores can live off for 100 of years. 100 साल वो जी सकता है इस कंडीशन में. And whenever the condition is favorable, they will germinate to produce new organisms. So chlamydospore, as you can understand, it is an exospore. ये endospore नहीं है. This is an exospore. And these exospores are generally created in unfavorable conditions. Okay, understood chlamydospore? Anyone want to ask anything? Too much silence. Riyanshi, understood chlamydospore?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
है ना? So we will see what is the next type of spore. So the fourth type of spore is called Oidia. Oidia is also an exospore. What happens in case of Oidia? It occurs that consider this is the hyphae of a plant. The whole hyphae will form small fragments like this, and from each of these small fragments there is production of new organism. As you can see, this is also not enclosed in any kind of pouch, so this is also an exospore. Oidia is generally again found in case of fungi. Last but not least is Conidia. Very commonly found in an organism जिसकी तस्वीर आपने देखी होगी बहुत ज़्यादा बार. I want you to identify that organisms from the picture. हाँ. So here bunch of like series of small spores are attached, and this is also a kind of exospore. ये exospore है, endospore नहीं. So that's all about this chapter. Now what we are going to do? We are going to have a look into the parts present in the textbook. हम क्या करेंगे? हम एक बार टेक्स्ट बुक में क्या क्या है वो देख लेंगे. तो बंद हो गया है. नहीं, चालू हो रहा है, रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है. Okay. So reproduction in organisms, we already studied about the concept of लाइफ स्पैन, isn't it? हमने पढ़ लिया है what is lifespan, what is life cycle. I told you here, and we studied that the lifespan is dependent on the rate of reproduction is dependent on the lifespan as well as mortality of organism. कोई कितना जिंदा रहता है और उसकी डेथ रेट कैसी है उसके ऊपर लाइफ स्पैन डिपेंड करता है, और उसके ऊपर रिप्रोडक्शन डिपेंड करता है. जैसे मक्खियां, when they reproduce in lakhs, but human being is giving birth to a single child or two child. Why? Because we have broad lifespan, our lifespan is more, and our number of children produced is less. That's why we need to have a slow rate of reproduction. Here many questions are there. I want you to have a look into them. Why do we say that there is no natural death in single celled organism? You remember I told you one example कि can we call all organisms as immortal? Can you answer this question to me? Single celled organism को हम कैसे बोल रहे हैं कि there is no natural death? Anyone? See, have you studied binary fission in amoeba? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
तो
ma'am.
उसमें क्या होता है, एक सिंगल amoeba is broken down to produce two organisms ना, तो that
Yes, ma'am.
single amoeba will, some part of that single amoeba will be present in two amoeba, है ना? So there is no natural death to unicellular organisms. And if you are thinking about multicellular organism, then also there is no natural death, because even if we are going for sexual reproduction, our DNA is getting continued into the next generation, है ना? So then they asked that why we have continuity of life, and they mentioned this is due to what I can say, reproduction. We dealt with this part during reproduction. Now I want all of you to fill this up from internet. Elephant approximately कितने साल जीता है? Rose plant how many years? Dog की lifespan कितनी है? See, butterfly can live only for 1 or 2 weeks. सोचो. Crow 15 years. Parrot, which is a very long living organism, 140 years. They can be live longer than human. Banana tree to 1 year only. Once they are giving fruit, then they die. Cow, how many years? Horse, fruit fly. So why they put such things? Because you will be able to know that what is the lifespan of each and every organism, and you will have idea. Then they defined process of reproduction, and they said that it is of two types, asexual and sexual. We also studied about the difference between comparison between these two. Acha, do you know if comparison is asked, how to write the questions? If
Difference between form.
no, you will not get full marks. If I say compare sexual and sexual reproduction, do you need to have write only the differences?
Definition.
No, beta, you need to write similarities as well as dissimilarities. When I am comparing two children, I am always not talking about dissimilarities, na? I am sometimes talking about the comparison में तो similarities भी आते हैं ना. I am consider comparing Dish with Gia. So I will say that both of them are students of grade 12. But the difference is Dish is a boy, Gia is a girl. Okay. So when I'm comparing, I'm writing the similarities as well as dissimilarities. So if in exam they are asking about comparison, be aware, आपको similarities भी लिखना है. What similarity you will write about asexual and sexual reproduction? It is very easy. What is similar between asexual and sexual reproduction? Aha, this is not answered. Dish, bolo. You want to try?
Yes, ma'am. In asexual reproduction, similar क्या होगा?
Both produces offspring.
Very good, Priyanshi.
Thank you.
Actually, whenever they are asking us question, हम सोच ही लेते हैं कि ये तो बहुत difficult question होगा. See, all of you study same books, study from same teachers, but then also during examination, this smart thinking will help. है ना? That's why I thought that we will discuss about all twisted and tricked questions. I ensure if you give your effort in grade 12 biology, it's very easy to score. Yeah, it's like syllabus is also low as compared with the 11th grade syllabus. ठीक है? Now they are talking about asexual reproduction. We already talked that what is clone. See, yesterday you observed there is one question considered. Clones are genetically similar or morphologically similar? Both, na? They are morphologically similar as well as genetically similar. So then they talked about why asexual reproduction is so popular amongst the lower organisms and why higher organisms cannot opt for it. Here are examples, beta. This is example of zoospore, Conidia. See, this is the gamules of sponge. You can see inside these small circular structures are gamules of sponge. This is the opening through which they come out, and each of them can produce the new organism. Actually, sponges live in colony. जो पूरा वाला sponge हम देखते हैं ना, actually आप लोगों ने कभी sponge नहीं देखा होगा. Have you ever like आपने देखा है sponge किसी ने?
No, ma'am.
क्योंकि हम ये जो स्क्रॉच ब्राइट वाला स्पंज यूज करते हैं ना, दैट इज सिंथेटिकली प्रोड्यूस्ड, वो ऑर्गेनिज्म नहीं है. ये एक्चुअली रूल्स बनाया गया है कि तुम नेचुरल स्पंज नहीं ले सकते हो बिकॉज इट इज कॉजिंग हार्म एंड कॉजिंग एक्सटिंक्शन ऑफ द ऑर्गेनिज्म. ओके, सो दैट्स व्हाई हम देखते नहीं है. नेचुरली स्पंज इज लाइक लुकिंग समथिंग एल्स एज समथिंग एल्स, and sponge is biodegradable also, but ये जो Scotch Brite वाला sponge है, this is not. So this is budding in hydra. So they talked about zoospores, Conidia, but see, they only mentioned about Conidia. अब वो क्या है, कब है, कहाँ है, nothing is mentioned. And these are different vegetative reproduction procedure that is observed in case of plants. You must have studied them in grade 11 in chapter number 5, that is morphology. These are eyes of potato. Potato is a stem. These are buds that is observed in case of ginger. This is bryophyllum. I showed you each of their pictures, okay? And this is bulbil of agave and offset of water hyacinth. So see, you can see two plants are developed from the single one. So if you cut it from here, both of them can be separated and leave exist accordingly. So here it is not mentioned, but I think I should tell you. This offset is observed in case of aquatic plant. In case of terrestrial plants, such structures are there called runner, sucker. You studied about them. Grade 11, you can refer chapter number 5. For example, strawberry is a stolon. Such way runner and sucker are there. So in that case, the only difference is those are terrestrial. Same, एक plant में से branch से दूसरा plant निकलता है, and if this branch is cut from in between, then it can produce the new plant. Process is same. So they talked about nodes. I hope all of you know about what is node. Then they talked about sexual reproduction. We talked about all these. What are the phases of life cycle? These are vegetative phase, growth phase, and maturity. And in vegetative phase, they are not reproductively capable. This juvenile phase is known as vegetative phase. We talked about these stages of life cycle. See, you can see here marigold, rice, wheat, coconut, mango. All of them have their own timing. That's why I taught you the annual, biannual, and perennial plants. Okay. So they asked one question. What would you call the interflowering period? Consider a mango plant is flowering now. Then it will produce mango. We will take mango. Again it will wait for 1 year. Again summer season से पहले उसका flowering होगा. So the stage between two flowering, you will call it vegetative or you will call it maturation phase. Because definitely वो reproductively active नहीं है तो उसको तो हम reproductive phase तो नहीं बोल सकते ना. What you will call it? Kashish, what do you think?
Vegetative phase.
But beta, वो तो like see this answer needs to be given in a very wise way. अगर वो annual plant है या biannual plant है जिसमें वो plant मर जा रहा है and from that fruit or some seed new plant is producing get produced, then we can call it vegetative phase. But if it is a perennial plant जो सालों दर साल जी रहा है उसकी तो वेजिटेटिव फेज आ गया. अब वो बड़ा होके फ्लावरिंग चालू कर दिया मतलब इट इज इन रिप्रोडक्टिव फेज. बट इन बिटवीन टू फ्लावरिंग सीजन वी कैन कॉल इट मैच्योरेशन. वी कैन नॉट कॉल इट वेजिटेटिव फेज अगेन. ऐसा थोड़ी ना है कि मैंगो का प्लांट वापस से एकदम पहले चल जैसा था वैसा हो जाएगा एंड इट विल अगेन गेट बैक इनटू वेजिटेटिव फेज. ऐसा नहीं होगा ना प्रिया जी?
No,
it
maturity.
depends on, हाँ, so it depends on plant to plant. अगर वो annual है तो उसमें वापस से vegetative reproductive maturity क्योंकि after 1 year that plant will die. But in case of perennial, that's why ये book में mention नहीं किया हुआ है. Then also I taught you about annual, biannual, perennial. Okay, observe a few trees in your area. Trust me, I know that in cities plants are not there, but I think bio is one of the easiest subject because all of us are carrying one specimen with us. थोड़े से bio में आप आजू बाजू देखना चालू करो ना, तो you will have so many questions inside your mind about this. तो एक देखना आपके like चारों ओर, you must have noticed this. They don't flower during same time. Seasonal flowers होते हैं. Some of them are having flowering during season and some of them are like not flowering even for years. जैसे कि यहाँ मैंने आपको बोला था 50 to 100 years तक बैम्बू फ्लावर में flower नहीं आता है. When once it is flowering, it's producing large number of fruits and then die. Strobilantha scunthiana, Nila Kurunji, blue streak, we talked about it. I told you कि 12 साल में एक बार होता है. यहाँ like 2006 बोला है, but it is old data. 2018 में लास्ट वो बूम हुआ था. मतलब अभी आप 2030 का कर्नाटक या तमिलनाडु जाने का प्लान कर सकते हो. You will be able to see. My mom dad visited at that time 2018 and they clicked photograph also with this Nila Kurunji. So here one question, can you list changes seen in human being that are indicative of reproductive maturity? I am not talking about this here. We have one whole chapter for human reproduction we will talk about there. Among animals, they mentioned about estrus and menstrual cycle. I told you about them. We talked about that. And events in sexual reproduction as we discussed. Pre-fertilization, post-fertilization and fertilization. In pre-fertilization, gametogenesis, gamete transfer. Here we talked about alternation of generation, haploid, diploid. I request all of you to understand and remember that. And finally, the homogametes, heterogametes. Homogametes means isogamous, anisogamous, oogamous. I told you. Sexuality also we discussed कि monoecious होता है, dioecious होता है. What are these? We talked about it. Unisexual, bisexual, hermaphrodite क्या होता है? Cell division कौन सा होता है? Haploid, diploid, mitosis, meiosis. We talked all these things. And finally, these are the number of chromosomes. Don't worry, you don't have to remember them exactly. If you remember a human being, that is enough. Gamete transfer, different means are there. They will be dealt clearly when we study reproduction chapter, that is chapter 2 and chapter 3. Fertilization and syngamy. Okay, one thing we didn't discuss, that is parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis means development of offspring without fertilization. This is observed in case of fruit. आपने पढ़ा होगा, by application of some hormones, parthenogenesis can be imposed, जिससे seedless fruit बनता है. Okay, similarly it is possible in case of honeybees. We will talk about parthenogenesis in next class. I want to give you idea about parthenogenesis. So that's all. Embryogenesis, cell division, differentiation. So these are the different parts. You go through your textbook chapter 1, and if you have any doubt, next day we will start with the doubts and then we will move on. Okay? Bye to all of
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Okay?
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, beta. Take care. Bye.